Good morning, Steamits and Steamizins of Steam City. It's Episcopo Squirrel here, also known as Alchemage, here to do another dab with Mage. Y'all ready? It's nice to be back on these videos as often as possible. It's a beautiful Monday here at the start of a beautiful week. And, yeah, how's everybody doing this morning? It's a nice, beautiful morning. Not very much overcast. Doesn't look like there's a whole bunch of smoke in the sky. Seems like the fires are starting to come under control. A little bit more, at least, closer to here in Portland. Getting ash raining from the skies. I hope you all are doing well. This morning, I would like to talk to you all about consciousness. Again, it's one of my favorite topics. Cheers. Well, first let that cool down. I seem to be getting it really hot these days. Anywho. For those of you who are unaware, if you get this piece here is called the nail. If you get the nail too hot, you end up actually burning the oil, and it'll leave carbonate traces. And it doesn't taste as good, and you can actually ruin the oil. Yeah. You want a low temp dab for the terpenes, the essential oils, to be able to release at the proper degree. You can get that full rounded flavor, or rounded effect, full-bodied effect. That's what I'm looking for. Anywho, so consciousness. I've spoken on what I think consciousness is, and I've spoken on panpsychism being, that consciousness prevails all energies. But this morning, I want to talk briefly upon consciousness of other entities. I briefly brought up Thomas Nagel's What Is It Like to Be a Bat? Philosophical discussion that was brought forth by Thomas Nagel in 18 or 1900s. I can't remember exactly when, but basically it goes and says that, we don't know what it's like to be a bat. It's impossible to know what consciousness is, or if anything has consciousness, from our own unique perspective, our individual consciousness. We can't jump into the head of anything else. We can't jump into the mind or the consciousness of anything else. But that's not to say that these things don't have consciousness, that other animals don't have consciousness. The more and more that science delves into, empirical science, I should say, delves into the realm of consciousness and starts testing these animals, they begin to find out that animals have consciousness. And not only are they conscious, but they're sentient. And they have will, They have things that they want to do, and they have things that they don't want done to them. And so these animals that we have living with us, and the animals that are all around us, they all have consciousness. And it may not be the same as what we go through, but that would be silly if they had the same exact consciousness that we do. As I've said before, this is all one thing, it's all one experience. In my opinion, it's unfolding in as many different degrees as possible so that experience can happen in as many different ways as possible. And so for something else to have the same exact consciousness as you or I would be absurd. It just wouldn't make any sense. So consciousness is always changing. taking new forms, and sentience is taking new forms. Plants are also sentient, and plants are beginning to undergo scientific research, empirical scientific research, to show that they are conscious. For instance, an experiment was conducted where plants, a specific plant was or had aphids introduced into its body, into its cycle, into its environment. And it was found that the plants surrounding that specific plant that had the aphids introduced onto it, the ones around it began preparing for an attack, and they would release these pungent smells and flavonoids, so that when the aphids would try to eat it, they would be revolted. They would turn away from it. So it's found that even plants are communicating with one another. They may not speak. Again, sentience isn't the same as each degree that we understand it as. Plants, it's found that there is a network of fungi underneath of the soil using what's known as mycelia. And that's not the fruiting body that we see above the ground, but rather these webs, these networks of strings and tubes that go underneath the soil and connect from plant to plant to plant to plant. And the fruiting body comes above and is able to release spores and germinate across the globe. And so it's found that plants use these fungal hyphae, these mycelia, to communicate with one another. They send signals to the mycelia, and the mycelia send signals to and from the plants surrounding that one plant. And in exchange for this communication that goes on, the plants feed the mycelium. And so there is a symbiotic cycle going on where the fungi is acting somewhat of like the internet, the World Wide Web, connecting literally the World Wide Web, connecting all these different plants so that they can communicate while being mobile or immobile. And so just take a brief second and think about it, do some research, see what you think. New Zealand just recently passed a bill that gave sentience to, it didn't create each animal having sentience, but it gave humans, I don't know how to say this, in a bureaucratic way, it shows that all animals have sentience. New Zealand passed this. So, yeah. Hate to break it to you guys, but Fido is conscious. He's sentient. Your little puppers, your little kitty cat, they're conscious. They're sentient. Treat them well. I talk with my animals. I don't like to call them my animals, but the animals that are in my care. I talk with them and I have conversations with them. I even have conversations with bugs and stuff inside my apartment and tell them what the rules are and such. I know. Such an anarchist. I have rules. Oh. I need to discuss that in another video. Anywho, I hope y'all have a beautiful day. I hope y'all take care, and Be well. I love you guys.